Hi, this is a video I'm making about a review of the Aarn Backpack Pace Magic 40 liter. I don't do a lot of YouTube videos, so I made a boo-boo in the last one, so I just had to do a quick retake. So I'll just do sort of a synopsis. Aarn is a New Zealand company. They're known for making backpacks which are characterized by having front carry pouches on the front straps. The intent of that is to transfer some of the weight from your back to your front, so you have an even load, so you can maintain a more erect posture and not be hunched forward trying to pull the weight off your forward from your back. Specifically, I was getting this to do the Camino Frances, and just so you know sort of where I'm at. For myself for packs, in the past I've done the Frances, and I took a Gregory Zulu 30 liter, which I like very much. It's kind of like my pack because it's basically a day pack but with a full pack harness, so it's quite comfortable to carry, quite well padded. But I was interested in the idea of the Aarn backpacks, a little bit nervous about them. And I'll be honest, when I first got it, I was disappointed. I don't think I would like it. I was a little bit choked about it. But now I like it very much. I'll go over the some of the details and then talk about what it was like to carry. First of all, because I've been using this before, there's a few things on it which are not on the pack when you buy it, like these black Velcro patches. I'm inclined to put patches on where mine. The yellow reflective things on the side, I always add reflective things, reflective tags or tape. That was mine as well. And there's also like a couple of clips on the front. But enough of that. So what do you get? So this is a Pace Magic 40 liter. It's a lot different from other backpacks you get in the sense that it's what's called a fast pack. So it's used more by trail runners, like the long distance runners doing multi-day events. They want something very light. What you get is a pouch, a bag with a front mesh pocket, good size. It's a roll top. The straps and the buckles, which you get, at first I was disappointed with because they're all much smaller and thinner than you get on, like, say, a Gregory or an Osprey, for example. On the sides, there's two large, very deep pockets. You can put Teva sandals in there. Water bottles, your hiking poles. If you have like even bulky rain gear, it'll fit in there quite well. There's a smaller pocket up top with a key holder, and some lash points. As I say, it's a roll top. At the bottom there are hiking pole hoops and an ice axe holder. If you're of that persuasion. Other than that, it's just one big compartment. There is an envelope for a water bladder if you are one of those people that use those. I'm not, and I never would with this thing because the water carrier bottles on the front are much better. But now we'll go around to the front because that's where things get interesting. So on the front, how this is different. First of all, what's a little bit different is I've added a couple of key hoops, keychain loops on there, and a couple of S hooks. But the pack itself up here, you'll see, it's sort of moves back and forth. It's rather dynamic, so it moves with your body quite well. It is a trampoline backpack, so there's space for airflow, which is for myself pretty much mandatory. it rides quite well. Now, the distinguishing thing you'll find is that the straps at the front, they're not like regular backpack straps. It's like a runner's vest. And that took me a little bit to get used to. As I say, when I first got it, I was disappointed because I put it on. I was like, this feels weird. What's going on here? I love it now, to be honest. What's interesting is instead of most backpacks will have like one sternum strap, this actually has, as you see, 2 straps across. A lot of detail went into the pack, I think, a lot of good thought. So for example, the top strap will not fit into the holder on the bottom and vice versa. And I discovered that by accident actually, and realized the reason why they do that is to prevent you from accidentally making an X pattern and putting like the top one into the lower receiver. And so that sort of makes it idiot proof. So that was interesting. Also on the straps here we have 2 water bottle holders. They easily hold a 750 smart water bottle, and they're nice because they're smooth, they're somewhat slippery, but at the same time they're very deep. They do have an elastic at the top, so you can carry your smart water bottles, and it's very easy to pull them out, have a nod, and put them back in. On my Gregory, I had aftermarket water bottle carrier strapped to the things, but they were serviceable, but there's something about the design which I didn't like. It was actually difficult. I was always trying to fight to get the bottle back into the carrier. Not with these. It just slides right back in, and that's the cat in the background. So that was a plus for me because carrying my 2 750s on the front was nice, and it did transfer weight off the back that otherwise might be in like a side pocket onto the front. The other thing about the straps, which I quite like, is they've got a daisy chain on each one. I'm not sure why other manufacturers don't put daisy chains on their backpacks. Gregory, I think the Ospreys as well don't. And I really think you need daisy chain on these straps because it allows you to customize the bag as you wish. In my case, I went to the dollar store and I got 2 plastic S-hooks, which I put on, and that way when I was walking, if I was stopping somewhere to take a picture with my phone or getting a cafe con leche, I could easily hang my poles from the front straps and get them out of the way while I was doing my business. The other thing I did, which is was my own thing, is I put 2 key rings on the daisy chain, and I have a small sort of like fanny pack, chest pack, and I just put 2 carabiners on, and I could walk with it clipped to the front of my chest, and that way I had like my passport, wallet, all my essentials there, right in front of me where I could use it right away without having to dig down into a pocket or heaven forbid take the pack off. And then when I got to town or the albergue, I could just take it off, pull the strap out and wear it, and then put my pack down and not have to worry about that. So that's the upper part of the harness system. Where things get different as well is at the bottom. So you have 2 large pockets there. I would say, eyeballing it, I would say probably like 1.5, maybe 2 liters capacity. Now, most backpacks will have, obviously with a belt, will have a side pocket on the belt. If you want to get your granola bar, you have to reach back like a gunslinger and negotiate the zipper, which doesn't always seem to work that well, and get it out and somehow zip it back up the other way. For these, the pockets actually are right at your front. They're in front of your like by your belly button, and so that's quite neat because then all your stuff is right in front of you. You can if you got your pack on, you can like reach in, get your in my case, I kept like a poncho in one, and the other one I had like hiking gloves, buff, snacks for the day, a little mini first aid kit just for like a little owie, that sort of thing. So it transfers some of that weight to the front, and also it's just nice because it keeps everything like up front. It's right there, if you need to use something. As a result, because the pockets are at the front, most backpacks you have like a buckle at the front, and then the two loose ends that you tighten in either direction to make the pack tighter around your waist. This doesn't have that. It just has two buckles again at the front, and then the strap which adjusts the belt is further back on the side, back where on a regular backpack perhaps that side pocket would be. And so you just put your hand in and you push forward, and that brings the front pockets. It tightens the pack up by bringing the pockets in close to you, and it sort of cinches up the whole backpack against your body. So it sits quite nice, quite smooth. It has these yellow straps, by the way. I just replaced. There's gray ones when you buy it. It's just, I did find because there's a lot of gray on gray, sometimes I was putting my hand in the wrong avenue, so to speak. And so I just replaced it with some yellow shock cord. So it rode quite well. When it would squeeze in, it's almost like sort of tightens your core. And so you have like the pack on your back, and then the chest harness and the pockets at the front. So it squeezes you in quite nicely. So as a result, it rides close. You of course do have that space because of the trampoline pack. It is framed, I'll mention. So that's what I like. The only thing, what did I not like? What I didn't like was initially there is a bit of a learning process compared to like a regular backpack. You've got all of these like smaller straps and what I'm going to do with them. Once you're past that, for some reason on the left strap, sometimes this buckle here would dig into me. And I think it was more to do with the way I was using it, because I never felt that on the right one. I think I was doing something wrong. Sometimes at the back, this part, it's might sort of fold in. That might happen to me like when I was putting the pack on. It would only happen to me like maybe like once a day, or not even. And then you just put your finger in and just move it back out of the way. All the straps are obviously much thinner than on a Gregory or an Osprey. Maybe more like like the Deuters will have like thinner straps. So if you're comfortable with that, that this won't be a surprise. Would I buy this again? Yes, I would. Initially, I was suspicious of it. However, I love it now that I've actually worn it. Not for the entire Française, but for part of the Française. I ended up hurting my knee, and the pack lasted longer than I did in this case. If you're doing a Camino, it's a perfect Camino pack as far as I'm concerned. It comes in a 20 liter, a 30 liter, and a 40 liter. This is the 40 liter. The difference in weight. This pack comes in like with mesh pocket, big side pockets, a frame pack, trampoline pack, water bottle carriers, these two groovy front pockets. Comes in at 850 grams. That's pretty good for a pack with all of this, with all these details, with all these features. I really can't think of any other pack that comes at that weight with anything close to those features. There's other packs, of course, that are light, even some other packs which are framed, which come in quite light. But the water bottle carriers, the front pockets, which are huge, you can't beat that at 850 grams. the price, it's nothing's cheap nowadays. It was, I think, about $280 Canadian, off the top of my head. So that's something to consider. It does seem robust enough. I'm not easy on my gear. I'm sort of one of these people who are like, why put my pack down when I can just like release the buckle and let gravity do the rest. So it survived pretty well. The only thing I would say that I would amend is that I did, before I left for Spain, I did use something like a seam sealer to touch up the sewn points, the stress points that are sewn. I do that with all my gear anyway. So just like how some people, they'll like take a drop of clear nail polish to like shirt buttons so that the sewing doesn't unravel. On whole, I think this is actually an awesome pack. While I still dearly love my Gregory Zulu, it now seems really heavy because it does come in at like twice the weight of this pack. And in fact, even more than that, because in order to have the same functionality, I have to add aftermarket water bottle carriers to the straps because that's how I prefer to carry my water. I really think that this is a bonus pack. If you're trying to make up your mind of the 20 liter, 30 liter, 40 liter, a lot of that depends on you. From my perspective, this is more about me than you perhaps. I think 20 liters is a bit too small. Some people may be tempted to do the 30 liter. I can appreciate that. But the difference in weight was only like, I'm going to say 30 grams between the weight of the 30 liter and the weight of the 40 liters. So 30 grams for an extra 10 liters of carrying capacity. I'll take that trade-off any day. And the price difference wasn't that much. It was maybe like $20 difference or something like that. There's nothing to get worked up about. And again, it's got a lot of straps, so you can always just cinch it down. So I'd rather have that slightly extra carry capacity than the 30 liter. In a nutshell, I think this is definitely going to be my go-to bag from here on out. So I hope that helps out. That's the Aarn Pace Magic 40. And I think it's actually perhaps the perfect Camino bag. Cheers.